Hello there, and welcome to Mindful Monday on the Energy Medicine Hub. And today I've been doing a bit of clearing out. I've taken some time off just to get my space organised. Sometimes when our space is disorganised, then something else gets disorganised too. Here we have my brain. And one of the reasons I've been procrastinating about organising my space, and particularly my therapy space in my new home, is that I couldn't get all my books on my bookshelf. And I couldn't do that because the shelves were falling down because of a tiny little thing like this. This is something to hold the shelf up, easily available. I bought them on Amazon for about £1 and then thought they never came and never came and never came, and that was my excuse to not unclutter my space. So today, having moved, heaps of stuff from the garage conversion into the house, but we're in a place where I'll have to sort them out, and in so doing also unclutter my brain. Doing a lot of thinking about how the brain interacts with our state of arousal at the moment, and this week's newsletter covers that in a bit more detail as a follow-on from last week's one about the media. But it just goes to show how the smallest of things can sometimes divert us from our tracks and take us in a different direction, and so it's especially important to be mindful of those facts and to give ourselves the grace of space. So today I've got a beautiful picture to share with you. Let's just take a moment and talk through what we can see. There you go. Isn't that just a magnificent, wonderful and powerful example of life here on Earth? And here we can see that most of this tiger is actually below our line of vision, but there is a reflection, as above, so below. As in our mindset, so in our life. And to some extent, as in our life, so in our mindset. We can't control the external factors all the time, but we can manage our mindset. Think of the power of this magnificent tiger. Look at those glorious whiskers. Let's start from the facial features. The nose, quiet. Because this tiger is relaxing. It's lying in water, something that big cats like to do, but not so much the small ones. The eyes, almost closed. But if we look a little further back, the ears, although they are back, they're still listening. You can almost, if you look at the hairs there and look at really, really closely, focus your mind, you can almost hear that tiger listening to us. So we look at the hairs and the dark spot between the hairs on the ear. Your vision, your peripheral vision, may be drawn to the brightness and whiteness of the facial features. But keep your attention on that dark space of the ear. Listen to what this picture has to say to us. Allow your attention now to widen out and bring it to the eye. And notice now that that white area extends above and below the eye. The eye so quiet, so still. But I'll bet you she's watching. The picture exudes calmness and stillness. But yet we know that underneath that calmness and stillness there's huge power ready to spring into action immediately as soon as it's required. And if we think about it, we think about our nervous system. The conscious part quietly resting on the surface. But the unconscious drivers, with their immense power, their immense energy, their immense charge, not so far beneath the surface, ready to spring into action. The first sign of danger, threat, and perhaps in the case of the tiger, lunch. Look now at the power of the musculature of that neck. So strong. And yet inside that strong, powerful neck, there is a relatively small spine. Cats are nothing if not flexible. But a tiger is especially powerful. We don't always think of our spine as being powerful. We tend to think more in terms of words like stiff or sore. Allow your spine to be flexible. Move your head, but move it as a cat would, dipping forwards, surveying what's going on to one side, what's going on to another side, coming back to the center, stretching up, making the spine long. Imagine you've got a tail, and that tail is waving ever so slowly, ironing out the kinks in the spine, allowing that flow to pass up through your spine as you move side to side. Looking at the dip in the tiger's back, settling her belly down into the water, at rest, in a state of peaceful arousal, alert but quiet. Look how the lines are closer in the center, how they change colour and widen out as we look back towards her flanks. Underneath those hip joints, the great power of her hind legs used to drive her forwards when she needs to move. We have the capacity to drive ourselves forwards too. And how much energy do we waste rushing instead of driving? Rushing to get jobs done, rushing to feed the kids, rushing to get home in traffic, rushing to eat, even rushing to bed at night because we've left it too late. Save that power for when it's needed and use it. Use it well. As above, so below. When there's calmness on the surface and calmness of the mind and stillness of the body, then that power gets a chance to recharge, ready for when it's needed. When we're always doing, we don't recharge ourselves in that same way. And then when we need our energy to rise up, to meet a challenge, to meet a new activity, we can find ourselves exhausted. In this ever-changing world, be like the tiger. Save your strength for when it's needed. Take the time to look and look again and look again. Because every time we look at something as beautiful as this magnificent beast, this makes our heart soar, recharges our batteries, makes us happy to be alive. Thank you for joining me today for a small mindful exercise. If you've enjoyed it, then why not join or connect with your energy challenge, which is going to run from the 18th to the 22nd of July, where we'll do about 10 to 15 or maybe 20 minutes every day, connecting with another aspect of our energy system to deepen that connection. I promise you'll leave with some stillness in your heart and perhaps some new ideas for your mind. It's always growing. Use it or lose it. Have a lovely day.